there. How are you doing today? Welcome back to my channel, Cece Speaks. And if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Cece, and today I'll be speaking on my passions. But first things first, every video I will be doing a shout out to a small business, a small Black business, particularly most of the time. But today I want to shout out to HeraHub DC. HeraHub DC, and I'll be discussing how HeraHub has played a role in my deciding factor as to what I wanted to do for my business because of how influential my experience as an intern with them was last summer of 2019. HeraHub DC is run by Julia Westfall. She is the CEO of DC's chapter of HeraHub, and she's amazing. She works tirelessly to ensure that all of her clients and everyone in the workspace has a place to do their work that is accommodating to all of the senses and comfortable, and she makes sure that everyone has access to resources they otherwise would not have. HeraHub DC is not a Black-owned business. However, they do cater to a lot of Black women entrepreneurs who use the space and also the resources to grow, maintain successful businesses. So thank you to HeraHub for being so inclusive and giving me a space also to talk about Black women and then their entrepreneurial journeys. So we're gonna get into the video. I was asked to do this topic on my passion because one of my viewers wanted to know how I went about figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. And I want it to be known that I don't have just one passion. There are a few, and they come from different places and different points in my life. I have some that are hobbies and some that I use to accrue income. And this passion of community and uplifting Black people and businesses came from my mom's tireless efforts to make sure that we volunteered in our community, which was primarily Black and brown, so that we could understand the impact that you could have on someone's life, but also appreciate the service that people give unto you when you are in need, or when we were in need. So that's where this community passion came from. Moving forward from that, when I reached college, I was bound on being a doctor. I was a biochem major, but in my first semester of school, I was failing miserably. I had a D in chemistry. I had dropped biology because it just didn't make sense. And chemistry, I just didn't have the motivation nor the will to do the studying or the work well so that I could pass. And it wasn't that I was stupid, I'm actually very smart. And I knew that because I was making good grades at the end of it when I knew I could pull off a C. However, I didn't have the passion to be a doctor anymore. And I realized that I was more interested in the political conversations that I was having at lunch tables and in classrooms. So that's how I decided to switch my major to politics. It was international politics at first, and then I had my sights set on going to law school. I then went to DC as my political department offered a program to go to DC, do your classes with a joint internship. And so I went to DC, got an internship thinking that I wanted to do something involving politics and policy. And so I joined a company that lobbies for clean energy technology and its accessibility to the public. And my exposure to how politicians interacted with organizations like this, how they created policies around issues, it's just a big mess. I also got to speak with people who worked on Capitol Hill, both aides and professionals within the political space, and it dawned on me that they're overworked and underpaid. And I just didn't want to do that. I was just like, no, this is not for me. I'm not about to do all of this work and then not have any time for myself or the people I love, and also be underpaid to where I'm struggling to afford my rent in expensive DC. So I decided that is not for me. And if I was to run for office, I would do it after I gotten all this life experience, and that just didn't seem like the route that I was going to take. So I decided that my next internship for the summer, after I figured out that I wanted to stay in DC, my next internship would be something entirely different. I had the passion for community. I had the passion for people building their way towards success on their own. So entrepreneurship. And my mentor in American University, she was my professor, connected me to HeraHub DC. I went in after emailing the CEO, and she told me that I could have a space that I created all on my own as my internship. So basically I could make it what I wanted it to be. And so I decided that I would focus on Black women entrepreneurs and their plight within the business world. So I did 2 months of researching and interviewing and wrote my article that's now published on the blog. And afterwards, I was like, so what am I gonna do? Like, what is my purpose in all of this? Why am I writing about it? And I thought to myself, I've always wanted to own a business, but I don't know what it would be. And so I started talking to my mentor, and then all through interviewing women who've been doing the work, I interviewed 3 of them, and they all gave me different perspectives on why they started their businesses, why they continued to work on them, and what came about in creating the idea. And as I was talking to my mentor, she said, you have always known what you wanted to do. You've been doing it. You just have to recognize in what scenarios you have implemented these skills, your passions, and executed something that was for someone else. And I was like, I've done a TEDx talk, and that was on identity and how it plays a role in perceptions of people whom we don't know or understand. I did the article for HeraHub. I always talk about, the plight of the minority, of women. I advocate. I created the effective activism page that my mentor assigned to us that year during class. And that was to change the perception of Black women in professional and higher education academic spaces. And so I was like, all of these things have a common theme. So what do I want to do with it? And my first idea was to write a book. I was going to write a children's book because I figured if we could change the world, it would start with young children. So I wanted to write a book on identity for children of color so that they would have positive representation of themselves, and then put that same positive energy into the world as they grew up. So that was my first idea. And I'm still writing the book, to be honest. So when that debuts, I'll let y'all know. But then my second idea was, I want to do something that engages my community, uplifts them, and makes them successful. The community, Black community, is everywhere. It's worldwide. And I want to be able to, from my place on this earth, to be able to in some way uplift the community and bring back the Black Wall Street, bring back the support of Black businesses, because that's important to our world. It's important to us as generational carriers of knowledge. It's important to us as women to pass that down to our children so that we leave a legacy behind, and not just a life of working 9 to 5 until our 80s, because that's what happens in our community. And we don't have anything to show for it afterwards, except for our children who repeat the same thing unless education is a part of the future. So I decided that I would try to figure out what this business was going to be. And on one of my trips with my CEO, because I got to work right up next to her, she took me to the annual small business fair. And my company, like I said in my last video, happened to win that year. And I was like, I like them. They are doing community outreach. They're a small business themselves, and they also uplift small businesses within the area, both Black and otherwise. Like, wow, this is a great example of what I want to do. I want to work for them. So the next year, when I was searching for jobs after my last semester in college, I graduated early, by the way, I decided that I was going to work for this company if it was, in my best interest to do so. And I got the job, and I realized that this is my passion because it comes to me so easily. I have the writing skills from all of my experiences, and especially my experience back in college as the intern for the public affairs office. During that time, I got to organize, coordinate, and host an event for Black businesses, and it was called the Texoma Black Expo in Texas. And that was a showcase of all the businesses Black owned within the community so that they could, have a broader reach. And it was also hosted on campus, so they actually had a space to do it in. And so I related that experience with my experience working at my current job. And I happened to realize, like, yes, this is actually what I really, really want to do. And I've been doing it. I've been advocating. I've been talking about these things. I've been making people aware of them. No matter how big the audience is, you can still make a difference by advocating to one person. You can talk to two people. It can be a group of people. It doesn't matter as long as you're getting the message that you have out that wholesomely represents who you're talking about. So I really came to the epiphany that I'm actually on the right track, because I've, ever since I was little, up until the decisions I made in both in college and thereafter, all have to do with the same thing. So whilst I'm still refining the details of my company that exists in the future, I am working up to that point by reassuring myself that this is where and what I need to be doing, but also reminding myself that I'm capable and that I am good at what I do, because I would not have been hired and I would not be given the amount of work I am at work if I wasn't. And I wouldn't have this path that's slowly becoming very clear if I was not on the right one. And I believe that, you make your own decisions and you make your own life story. You make your own path in life. But there are different ones that you can take. And for this one, I am making the necessary steps to each milestone to create a path for myself that I can then pass on to someone else, but also get to something that I didn't even imagine I would be doing or even thinking about. So that's all to say, I have all of these different passions, these things that I value, the things that I want to change in the world, because I see an issue that not only affects the people I'm seeing, but also me, my mother, my family. And I wanted to change that. I wanted kids to realize that they are important and just as capable and beautiful as others. I want them to have something to grasp on as they're growing up, the generational knowledge that I didn't have, that my mom didn't have. And she set forth a lot of that by going back to college, but there's a lot that needs to be shared. And I think that giving people a platform to be able to share that was my intention in writing the article. It gives people a point of information, of reassurance that the journey towards having your own business is not smooth. You're going to incur obstacles, especially as a Black woman or a woman in general, or an entrepreneur in general, because nothing's easy out here. Like, even those who have it quite easy, it's not easy. They still have to maintain what has been given to them. So I believe that everything I've done up until this point has been helpful in my journey in seeking out what it is that my purpose is. And I have this one purpose that I've been remanifesting in every point of my life now. And I think that it came from a lot of reflection, self-reflection in my life, and actually writing out the things that I valued as achievements in my life, whether that be TED Talks or events that I coordinated or people that I've made a difference in who let me know that I impacted their life. Witnessing people impact my life in ways that I wanted to then pass on to someone else. So that is my passion in relevance to my purpose, and then my career. If you are struggling trying to figure out what it is that you want to do after college, because I know that after college everyone's flustered, you don't know if you even want to use your degree specifically within the field that you're going to be working in, or whether or not you chose the right path. But I would recommend that you try everything that you're interested in just to see if it's the best fit for you. Because I did that just thinking like, this is what was supposed to happen, and it didn't work out. And at the time I felt like a failure because, who says they want to be a doctor and then automatically you quit? But in quitting, I found something so much better, like so much more worth my time, like that I felt was worth my time and that I enjoyed. I light up when I speak on issues like this. And then that is when I realized, like, you're actually doing what you want to do. And I stayed true to myself as well. If I didn't like something, I evaluated what about it I didn't like, and I seeked out the things that I wanted within my experience for the next one. So like I said, if you are struggling with the idea of what you want to do, reflect back on what you have done in the past, what your interests are, what gets you up in the morning and gets you excited to do. If you're not excited to do your work, even if it is tedious and time consuming, if you're not excited about the outcome or the product that comes from putting in that kind of work and effort into what you're doing, you probably need to be doing something else. Reflect on what you have done, what makes you happy, what you put your soul and heart into, and apply that to setting up experiences for yourself that reaffirm those things. I did not expect myself to shift to an entrepreneurial community. Instead, I thought that I would be, trying to run for office and getting that experience to help me know how to do that. But it didn't work out that way. And that is okay. That's a part of life. And it's okay not to get the best job at first. It's okay not to have, this expectation that you had in college for your dream job all of a sudden. Things don't work out for a reason. And if you don't try, if you don't go and put yourself out there, you will not get to this epiphany of what your passion and purpose is. And therefore you won't be in a space for you to grow as a person, but also grow your career because it's not something you're motivated to do. So reflect, get mentors. You can find mentors anywhere. Mine was my professor in college, but I had to put more effort into talking with her for her to become my mentor. You can find them at the stores. You can email them off of LinkedIn, business cards, following up with people. Like I said, follow up. You can find mentors anywhere. It can be your friend's parents or somebody who's interested in the same thing that you want to do, somebody that models the job that you want to have. Find somebody who can invest in you, listen to you, and advise you in ways that will help you get to where you want to be. Talking with people, shared experiences, shared plights help identify the things that you want to do and the things that you are meant to do. So that's my piece. Thank you for coming to CC Speaks. Please check out Hera Hub DC. Her link will be down below in the description box. Check out my article if you want some insight on how to overcome obstacles and grow your business and how to be successful. And thank you for coming again. I love you all. Please stay safe, stay at home so this pandemic will end and so you don't get stung by huge Asian hornets. Just stay inside, please. That's me, CC Speaks. Y'all follow me on IG at CC_QT. Hit me up with any questions you have, any feedback you have, any resources you know of for COVID-19, because we're gonna be in this thing for a while. I love you guys. Protect each other, love each other, and have a great day.